All right, welcome back to Farming Simulator 2022. I go by Hubcap, and as the title suggests, this is where I get chatty. I've uploaded several videos just basically testing the platform with shadow play and HDR, and a couple of unusual outcomes with the HDR. Some videos just instantly right to HDR, and some took a day. Some have been up for a week almost, seemingly, and no HDR. I've not changed anything in the way of my recordings other than now adding the audio in. Anyways, I'm just going to do a little basic farming, and if you want to follow along, that's great. I'm not going to ask for the thumbs up or the subscription, which seems to be the latest craze nowadays. Kind of annoys me. I'm just a simple farmer trying to farm. LOL. Okay, so I'm gonna all my crops are basically in early stages of growth, so I'm gonna do a contract. I've taken the liberty of having a quick peek early and discovered that there is in fact a contract I would like to do, and that's the cultivating on field 56. So I'm going to accept that contract, and we're gonna go and hop in to, that's the cedar. What did I do with my cultivator? Okay, we'll have to go look for it. That's the plow. Where the heck is it now? Bear with me. Is that it? Oh. Nope. Oh, wow. I get a significant echo in the garage here. I've never experienced that before. Oh. Nope. I couldn't find it yet. There it is. Okay. I'll just do a quick repair on that one. Out of that. And we'll lower our seating position. Not quite that low. Pull it out of there. The echo's gone away. So I never knew it would echo like that. New to me. Yes, I like running my hazards just because it makes it look better. Field 56. We're just going to teleport over there. You know what? We'll drive it this time. Just because. Get rid of that. Oh, oopsie. I actually must have had the teleport already loaded when I tried to get rid of the course plate innuendo there. Okay, so let's just put us out on the road here. And signs, well, they shouldn't have put it there. I intend to run over them. Go to this thing. We'll do a couple swipes at the, what I assume is the west side of the field, just to give us a little bit more room to turn around. And yes, I like using what is the add-on mod, as they call it. One of the first that came through for, and that would be my front weight, came through for the FS22 in answer to where is the GPS. Some other fella, I forget his name here, has done the so-called GPS, which was nothing like the one we had in Farming Sim 17, which I really liked it, and then they couldn't make it happen for 19. I've been farming since 13. Other games prior to that. Get rid of that. And we'll just do a 180 here. I use a Driving Force GT wheel and pedals, and I've had access to the G29 and all that. I much prefer the original, what they would consider a cheaper version. The wheel feels great, and it's got a ton of buttons you can map for functions and commands in the game. Number one, setting up the lane like this and then choosing to turn it on. Two simple buttons, none of this keyboard control, alt, whatever. I do have a Tobii heads-up head tracking unit, and there are times I like it in here, but for recording purposes I prefer to do it with the just the mouse and the wheel. This will be the last lane I do on this end, and then there's a couple I got to do at the far end as well. Done this one a few times. If you're curious about the gear that I use, yeah, I got a few bucks into it. I spend a lot of time on the computer, so to me it's worthwhile spending the money. Some people say, well, why don't you get the 13.7? I've got an 11900K on an Asus Maximus Hero motherboard. 32 gigs of CL16 4000 megahertz RAM, Samsung B-Die, Trident Z. That's a mouthful. I'm using an Arctic Liquid Freezer 280 millimeter cooler. I build computers for people in my spare time, kind of side gig. Upgrade their computers, build the computers, fix computers. Just turn this puppy around here for a moment. We're gonna do just a couple strips off this end to avoid that wall and this tree. And then we'll go to the up-down. Back to the rig here a bit. Yeah, I'm using almost exclusively, when I say almost exclusively, a 4 Samsung 980 Pro 1 terabyte NVMe drives, Gen 4. So I'm basically prepared for when direct storage finally launches. Hopefully the games I'm playing like this and the Flight Sim, Microsoft Flight Sim, are going to take advantage of that. What else have I got? Oh, I'm using an Asus Thor Platinum power supply. And of course, some people would say the star of the show. I say it's just another link, an Asus TUF 4090. And all that hardware is for naught for those who have that kind of stuff if you don't set your software up right and de-bloat Windows. And actually there's software and different ways to expedite the use of said software. Most people haven't even looked at that. Think that it's all about the hardware. Well, it's not. You can have the best hardware in the world if your software ain't set up right. Well, whoops. I need to shuffle that over a little bit. I'll talk about a lot of things here. Hopefully some people find it interesting. I like to share discoveries in these games, software-wise, hardware-wise, how to run your rig. Anybody has questions about the mods, how I set them up, any of my equipment, you feel free to ask. It's not my first, what's the word I'm looking for, venture into uploading games. If you've seen my channel, you'll go back and look. I was doing FS22 uploads. rattling on in some videos there as well. I just appreciate doing this. I love a high-spec render of the game. I've done many things in my life, and I guess I'm one of those guys that, oh, if it can be done better, I gotta do it that way. I don't know. I'm probably as equally intrigued by the game as I am by improving the render, improving the way the game runs. You know, how high of a performance level. And I don't just measure that in frames, I measure that in a balance of frames to how good can the game be looking, like appearance wise. And like I say, I'm attempting to do that here now in this particular run of uploads that I'm doing, where I eliminate some settings in the game that don't add any visual acuity to the game. But like motion blur, to me that's a hit on your graphics for something that I don't even think looks any good or really doesn't do anything for me, or the visual appearance of the game, not as far as I can see it. So things like motion blur I'll get rid of. I do like keeping the equipment clean because I like to sit in the cockpit of the tractor, and I like a clean windshield, because if you don't have a clean windshield, it's hard to show people the beauty of the scenery outside the cab of the tractor. So that's why I do that. You know, I like to move the camera around, let you focus in on you know, the way the dirt's rolling and being turned up like that. Now, I know that at 4K Ultra HDR, YouTube basically compresses you quite considerably, like by like 90%, and then limits you to 60 frames per second. So it does not look anywhere as good on YouTube as it does to me, but I'm doing my best to show you what it looks like. If you notice, I'm hovering near 120. I'm using a Samsung C1 OLED 48-inch GeForce or G-Sync monitor, and it's capped at 120. So I'm actually doing that, capping it at 120, because what is the point beyond that? Certainly for YouTube, capping you at 60. Occasionally you'll see, when I look at the YouTube videos, I see a little bit of a bump here and there, and that has to do with them trimming my frame rate. And tell you, it's buttery smooth on this side. I do not use DLSS, if that's how you think I'm getting 120 frames. And it's not that I'm dialing any of the settings down either. Everything is over the top. Ultra, at least anything that makes any sense. I think the distance in the render, like for how far it looks, I think it comes stock at like 100. I've got it at 250, and I was able to up that with the modification of the script. You can go way higher than that, but you do take a frame hit over 250, at least I am. But I think it looks pretty good in the distance. If I get up in the air, you'll see the circle of the render, that is. Yeah, it was interesting. I've got one video, and it, again, is HDR, and you can tell because the bloom is so bright off the sky. it almost looks washed out. Even the detail seems fuzzy on it, but it tells you it's 4K, but it will not go to HDR. And again, I haven't changed anything. And then I uploaded another video, and within like 4 hours of it hitting 4K, it was HDR, and it was longer, being like 17 minutes or something. And the one that won't turn HDR is 15 minutes. I keep checking it, thinking, you know, it's got to turn. I was reading a comment on Reddit, somebody saying that they actually didn't change anything. They just re-uploaded the video, and within the day it went HDR. It's like it's starting to rain from blue skies. Not a cloud in the sky, but it's starting to rain. There's some thunder in the background. Yeah, I really like this, I forget what it's lane guidance or whatever they're calling it. And it's in the original Farm Sim add-on mod, as it's called. And I just map it to my wheel. If you find it in your local area, either Craigslist, Kijiji, Marketplace, if you find a Logitech Driving Force GT, buy it. You'll be very happy with it. Again, the wheel feels real good. It's got force feedback on it. I mounted mine to the not a desk, but a table. It's adjacent to me here that I've got this all set up on. Can't believe it. Not a cloud in the sky, and we're getting a downpour and thunder. Anyways, back to my my frames per second. I do not use DLSS. That's just another compression method of the signal, and it actually takes away from what I consider to be a superior picture. But I am using frame generation, and in slower moving games like the simulators and stuff like that, you can't tell it's on except for the fact everything seems very smooth. So you can run frame generation if you have a 40 series. I'm not sure if the 70 does it, but certainly the 80 and the 90 you can turn on frame generation in games that allow it. Now, Farming Simulator itself does not allow or does not have a switch where you can turn that on. So this is true rasterization using TAA, not DLSS, which they do allow. So, sorry if I sounded a little confusing there, but there is no frame generation currently being used as I record this. Truly rasterizing a $1.20. There's a few spots that'll drop down. Not sure why. I think it's around the farm there. I keep all my machinery off farm in the far corner of the map, just to make sure I'm not challenging that 120 frame per second render rate, because I've got so many machines around to render. And even saying that, when I'm on the farm and I look across at the garage, sometimes it'll drop to like a $1.10, and I don't know why. I get out of the tractor and look, nothing. I get in the tractor, sometimes it's a $1.20, and if I look the other way, it's a $1.10. And I can't believe it's the gas station that's doing that. If I figure it out, I'll let you know. Anyways, I'm going to title this episode, I Get Chatty. If you rather just watch me farm and not chat, let me know, or vice versa. The 10 people that might watch it. Actually, I was pretty impressed. I've had like close to 100 views on some of these. These people are curious about the 4090. So I intend to offer as many insights to my hardware as possible for those that are interested in that kind of thing, and maybe how to possibly get a better quality render and performance from your own setup. I didn't always, and the 11900K in the board I got, it's only 4 months old. I just bought it because the performance to price comparison at 4K was way ahead of a 13900K. If you look at a lot of comparisons at 4K Ultra, there's no difference. So any of the modern i9s, I'd say from 10900 up, will give you very good performance with a 4090, if that's what you're wondering. Okay, so here I am, 118 in the tractor. There's a $120, and yet I can be in the field, not really doing a whole lot, and look that way, and I'm down to a $113 or something like that. So there it is right now. See, it flickered there. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm just going to quickly go collect my cash for that. There it is, completed. I'll collect. Thank you for the $7 grand. And again, thanks for watching. I'll upload another one in a few days. Take care.